Good morning, everyone. This is Jeremy here at ExtremeWeatherTracker.com, updating your tropical weather at 11:40 a.m. on August 25th, 2011. We have Tropical Depression 10 located here just south of the Cape Verde Islands, but the main feature we want to talk about today is Hurricane Irene, located here just in the northern Bahamas, to the east of Florida, heading to the north-northeast. A very powerful Category 3 hurricane currently affecting the northern Bahama islands of the Abaco Island, and Grand Bahama is also seeing some effects of Irene. Now let's go into the floater. You can see very impressive outflow going on with Irene. She's really getting her act together. Has been going through an eye wall replacement cycle over the last few hours, but I believe the smaller of the eye wall has actually prevailed, and she's back to this small eye wall here that's actually starting to clear out just a little bit. You can see just to the east of this is Abaco Island here, and this is Grand Bahama here. So you can tell that Abaco is really going to get pounded by this western edge of the eye wall here. And Nassau really felt some effects of this early this morning as it passed close, although they were a little bit on the outside of the eye wall. It passed a little bit farther to the east, and you can actually see the western side of the storm is actually filled in. Thunderstorms are starting to fire in that area, and the storm is taking on a more symmetrical look, and this is actually about 220 miles from the center to the eastern coast of Florida here. And I want to show you the radar. You can actually see rain bands are starting to move into eastern Florida here, the eastern coast of Florida. You can see the center right in here, and you can't see it very well in this radar, just to the east of Abaco Island, just moving to the northwest, and you can see the rain bands starting to fill in on this western flank. So the hurricane has gotten a more symmetrical look. Actually, it looks very well this morning, and the eye wall should continue. The eye should continue to clear out, and intensification should continue over the next couple of days as it makes its way northwest. Now let's dive into the models for Irene. You can see the models here located here in the northern Bahamas, and the model track's basically in fairly good agreement, taking it off to the northwest and then bending it back to the northeast and bringing it over the outer banks of the Carolinas and then into the mid-Atlantic states before making its way to the northeast. This is a very devastating scenario, guys. If this plays out, the Outer Banks will be the first to feel the effects of a major hurricane. I believe that she could possibly strengthen this area up to a low-end Category 4. But one must remember, with a hurricane the size that Irene is, you could probably see a storm surge effect of maybe one category higher than actually what the wind speeds are. So you could see some devastating flooding in this area, and then this area of the world, this mid-Atlantic states, all the way up into the northeast here. These guys are really going to get pounded. This is going to be probably a historic hurricane with billions of dollars of damage, and I just hope everyone that lives in this area from South Carolina, North Carolina up to Maine, you guys really need to be paying close attention to this and heed the warnings of your local authorities and evacuate if that becomes necessary, because there's going to be some major storm surge damage in this area here, all the way into Long Island, New York City, New Jersey, all the way up through here, and some heavy rains over areas that's already soaked by the rains of this past August. So you guys need to definitely be paying attention to this, because I'll show you the National Hurricane Center track, and you can see Irene located right here. And Irene is a major hurricane, should continue to keep that status until it affects the Outer Banks. You can actually see hurricane watches already posted for the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Tropical storm watches posted for most of the coast of South Carolina. And you can see as Irene makes her way northward, she should lose a little bit of intensity, weaken slightly after her encounter with the Outer Banks into possibly a Category 2 hurricane, before making her run through past Virginia Beach, into Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, all of these areas here, D.C., all of these areas are going to get hit by the storm. And you can see the cone is actually tightened up. The National Hurricane Center is confident in their forecast. All the global models are forecasting in this area here, and actually the European model is really probably one of the most scary models out there, bringing in actually probably a 920 millibar hurricane, which is probably close to a Category 5 hurricane into the Outer Banks. And this would be devastating, guys. And this storm, is as big as it is, it will be slow to weaken as it moves up into this area here. So you guys are really going to get hit hard by Irene as she moves to the north and east. I believe the track is pretty much set in stone. I mean, a few miles either way, it's really not going to matter. The track here is set to where the guys in this area of the world is really going to get smacked by this hurricane. This actually could rival the hurricanes of the 1950s that came up the eastern seaboard. So everyone in this area, please have your hurricane preparation in place. Know where you're going to go, know how you're going to secure your property, know where you're going to evacuate to, and be prepared in case you do need to evacuate. Now let's dive into why the hurricane is actually going to go where it's going to go. You can see this is the GFS 500 millibar out to 24 hours here. You can see Irene located here just to the east of Florida, and if we take it on out, you can actually see here, this is the first shortwave trough right here. Hope you can see my marker okay. This is the first shortwave trough, and you can see it if we take it on out to 48 hours. You can see this trough is lifted out. The ridging is still in place over here to the east of it. The Bermuda High is still there, and you can see the second shortwave trough here located over the Great Lakes here, and this is basically the one that's going to pick Irene up. If we take this on out to say 66 hours, you can see the trough here, but one of the reasons that the trough is not taking Irene out and recurving her, you can see this ridging is still very, very strong in here. The Bermuda High is still set up very strongly, and that's why instead of Irene coming up and brushing the Outer Banks and then taking her out to sea, it's actually bringing her almost straight north, a bit northeast, and actually just brushing the whole northeast here with powerful hurricane, 968 millibar hurricane. If we take it on out, then you can see basically brushing the Outer Banks, moving up into the northeast, and basically impacting this whole area here. So please, guys, the track is set in stone now. I mean, a few miles each way. You know, there's going to be a little bit of variation in the track, but it's pretty much set in stone as to how this is going to play out. And everyone, please, this is a very powerful hurricane. You can see the outflow, classic looking type hurricane, and the storm surge, the winds are going to be great. The wind radius of this hurricane is probably 200 miles in each direction, probably at least tropical storm force winds, and the hurricane force winds probably extending out nearly 100 miles, and should continue to grow in size and intensity while moving toward the North Carolina coastline. So North Carolina, South Carolina, you guys will probably feel the first impacts besides the impacts felt here in eastern Florida, and then on up the northeast, the mid-Atlantic states, and then into the northeast. So everyone, please be prepared, and everyone stay vigilant and focused on this storm, as it should be a major disaster over the northeast over the next few days. So hope everyone has a safe day. This is Jeremy at ExtremeWeatherTracker.com. I'll see you all again soon.